My mom created a fun way for us to learn the most important rules of life. Yah's command.
With Yah's Big Ten Commands, we get to see His what's best for us.
Keep Yah first.
No graven images.
Don't take Yah's name in vain.
Remember Shabbat and keep it holy.
Honor your parents.
Do not kill.
Mr. and Mrs., don't cheat.
Don't steal.
Don't tell lies.
Don't covet.
This changes everything. Get your set of Yah's Big Ten Commands at Big Ten Designs today.
Shalom, shalom, family. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is an impromptu live. I'm sure many of y'all already figured that out. Very impromptu. It's breaking news. So I had to jump on right now because we have some things that we need to talk about that just happened. I'm going to put the link out, okay? I'm going to put the link out because I want y'all to join the discussion, particularly if you are from Florida or you've lived in Florida. I want you to come on in to the room. Don't be shy. I'm going to pin it up in the comment section. Let me just pull it up here on my channel so I can pin it real quick. And then we're going to get started with this discussion. Some wild stuff happening, okay? Wild stuff that's going on, and we're going to talk about it because it's important, y'all. It's super duper important. If it wasn't important, I wouldn't be here. I'm going to give a shout out to the family real quick who jumped into the building. So go ahead, and if you want to jump in, you can join the discussion. Peace and blessing, Naomi. Peace and blessing to you. Thanks for coming in today. Team Truth, Shalom. Salute, salute. Justry, Shalom. Glad to have you in here. Yah's Grip, Shalom, Shalom. Shah Yasharal, Shalom to you. Quad Miel, Shalom, Mishpaka. As an educator, I'm very interested in tonight's topic. Awesome, awesome. Danielle Felder, Shalom. Glad to have you here. General Warman, peace and blessings to you, my brother. Royal Country City Girl, peace and blessings to you. Kaya Yasharal, Shalom. Peace and blessings. Ikabella, Shalom. Yeah, I'm telling you. Brother Fast Nick in the building, Shalom. Peace and blessings. And Sister Cherie, Shalom. As more people trickle in, y'all do me a favor and get those thumbs up because we want to have more people come in for this discussion. It's very important. It's breaking news of what's happened in Florida. So we're going to be watching some news clips. Yes, we're doing all that fair use, all of that stuff. We're going to be watching some news clips, and we're going to go ahead and start watching them pretty much now. If you want to join in on the discussion, you can definitely click that link above and you can give your 2 cents. But let me go ahead and I'm going to share the first video about what we're discussing tonight, and that's Florida approving the new Black History curriculum. Okay. Now, if you are not familiar with what has been going on in the state of Florida with Governor Ron DeSantis, he was 100% against teaching Black history from the perspective of critical race theory. Okay. He said he believed that critical race theory was woke, right? It was woke education, even though and I have to say this before I start the video, even though critical race theory as an application was on AP college level courses, okay, he and a lot of conservatives, evangelical conservatives primarily, tried to blow up CRT to make it as though it was something that was going to be taught on the elementary level, okay? And so there was all kinds of protest about this woke Black history conversation. And so they spent a lot of time in the public decrying it and saying, we don't want it here, get it out of here. But they adopted their own principles. And so we're going to take a look and see what their adaptation for the new curriculum is right now.
So you're calling about the $9.95 a month plan from Colonial Penn?
No,
I am. We put it off long.
At another flashpoint in Florida over race and education. The State Board of Education just approved new rules for how to teach Black history in public schools. And according to the Washington Post, the new standards say students should learn that enslaved people develop skills that, quote, could be applied for their personal benefit. And that during lessons about mob violence against Black residents, teachers should include acts of violence perpetrated against and by African Americans.
Now that's what did it for me right there. Teaching that enslaved people developed skills that could be applied for their personal benefit. This is what he is now instituting as the educational historical standards of Black history. And a total rewriting of his story. Come on, family. Now we're talking about Black history, and he says during lessons on mob violence against Black people, teachers should include acts of violence perpetrated against and by African Americans. Excuse me? Hold on a second. What are we talking about? His personal problems of today's present condition in African American communities? Or are we talking about historically what's happened during mob violence? Mob violence historically has not been African American led. It's been against us. But teachers should include acts of violence perpetrated against and by African Americans. I'm sorry, y'all. This is insane. Hold on a second.
So let's bring in Michael Eric Dyson, professor of African American Studies at Vanderbilt University. He's also the co-author of Unequal, a Story of America. Michael, first, your reaction to these changes.
Well, Anna, thanks for having me. It's quite ludicrous. It's devastatingly deceitful. It's mendacious, and it doesn't recognize the central place of pedagogy and teaching and curriculum in trying to get at lessons for young people. Why is the state trying to impose its hand on the teaching of history of African American people for the state's students? This is something that should be generated with educators, experts at disseminating information. This would be akin to saying that Native American people, when we teach their history, we should not only talk about the smallpox blankets that were distributed by the Pilgrims, but the attempt of Native Americans to defend themselves that was equally violent. This would be like teaching the Holocaust, saying that there were some good things that Jewish brothers and sisters picked up in those death camps that, should they survive, would be helpful for them to make their way in life. This is ludicrous. This was an institution of enslavement. Now they're saying we should teach both Rosa Parks and Thomas Jefferson. No problem there, except to say that Thomas Jefferson, while being a creative interpreter of American history and a contributor as a founding father, was also enslaving human beings. Rosa Parks was not. So this false equivalency between experiences of African American people and others being dictated to by the state of Florida is a grave disservice to true education in America. And those who are on the right wing who supposedly want to keep government out of the classroom and the bedroom are doing the exact opposite.
Context always matters, right? Florida's education commissioner argues that these changes will make the history curriculum more, quote, robust. So he's claiming this means students will learn more of the history. What do you see as the longer term impact of all of this on the next generation?
Right. It's
benefit. And that.
Sorry about that real quick. What do you think it's going to do to the next generation? We had a discussion just last night about Jill Scott, and there was a lot of different perspectives. And I thought it was a well-rounded discussion, including so much. But we saw in one of the video clips where one of the Django characters, y'all know which one, the one with the wolf thing on his head, he talked about Jill Scott being arrested because of her new rendition of the national anthem. This is this current generation. This is the mindset of this current generation because they don't have a clue about what happened to their ancestors during chattel slavery. The entire, how do I say this? The monstrosity of what happened during chattel slavery. They do not have a clue. They don't have a clue about what really took place on this American soil and its territories and the mob violence against our people. And yet they call themselves patriotic. Why? Because they're ignorant to this matter. Let's continue to listen to Eric Dyson real quick as he answers this question.
Right. It's ridiculous. How is it more robust? Help us understand what that might mean. Robust in terms of what? More rigorous in its approach? No, it's not. It is distorted. It is taking U.S. history, in this case, African-American contributions to history, and not just history, but culture, politics, sociology, and the like. It is taking the experiences of marginalized peoples and putting them on the chopping block of a ideology and a politics that is destructive. What impact will it have? It will deny young students access to rigorous history, to robust history, to an accounting of America for what it has done in the past that has been glorious and has been grievous. The point of history is for us to learn from that past in order to apply lessons to the present. What Florida wants to do is to distort what happened back then so they can manipulate what's going on now. The two are intimately webbed, and I think tragically so in the case of Florida.
So now you have an understanding of what's taking place now in Florida. Completely rewriting history. You see, I've been seeing this whole thing as of late, this new marketing rollout as of late, to really emphasize what about what Black people did? I've been really seeing an emphasis on that, particularly around the time that the Woman King came out. What about what? You know, the Dahomey tribe, America will do whatever it takes to absolve themselves from their personal sins. That's right, sis. Listen, this is 100 right here. Homeschool your children now. Homeschool your, and if you can't homeschool your children, matter of fact, I will, before we close out, I'm going to give you the link to a virtual school that I will be working with personally, that my son graduated from. If you don't have the time to educate your children, that's low cost, that you can put your children in this school and they can be accredited and go to college, if that's what you want for them, I'm going to give you the information before I'm done. Why? Because this is just that serious. It's just that serious. We're at critical mass, family. We are at critical mass when it comes to them tampering with the minds of our children. They want their minds to be completely destroyed. And they want to be absolved from all responsibility of what they have done. Now, we're going to look at the CRT, right? Because there were some things in it. I do agree with Ron DeSantis on some of the points that were brought out with this whole quote unquote wokeness, right? Because remember, we talked about the two wokes, right, of CRT. So here's some of the concerns that he found, the College Board, what they submitted to the African American Studies course, the AP courses, okay? My main concern is, it jumped out at me right away. And let me try to enlarge it so see if y'all can see it a little bit better. Topic 4.19, Black Queer Studies, okay? Included reading, Roderick Ferguson, who exclaims, we have to encourage and develop practices whereby queerness isn't a surrender to the status quos of race, class, gender, and sexuality. It means building forms of queerness that reject the given realities of the government and the market. Now, I got a problem with that. I definitely have a problem with that. Because, see, to me, that does not showcase Black history at all. I know that there was certain actors and activists that were queer leaning during the civil rights era, namely the one who wrote Martin Luther King Jr. speeches. Okay, I'm aware of that, but we're talking about an overall collective of historical information that's taken place within the Black community from 1619 to, let's say, 250 years, 300 at most, dealing with history. And it is not, the focus is not on queerness. It's not on these things. So I do agree that there's a push to have this political leaning and trying to make and normalize this lifestyle, because it just did not exist. It simply did not exist within the home frame of the African, quote unquote, African American family of old. It didn't. It couldn't. As a matter of fact, because family in itself, the structure of family, husband, wife, children, didn't exist during chattel slavery to that degree because of separating the families from one plantation to the next. So we're going to put an emphasis on queer studies. I totally agree that that should not be included. Black feminist literary thoughts, included reading Bell Hooks, author of many intersectionality texts, and in the recommended reading states, I began to use the phrase in my work, white supremacist, capitalist, patriarchy, because I wanted to have some language that would actually remind us continually of all the interlocking systems of domination that define our reality. Listen, structure and order in a family, which they call patriarchy, is biblical. It's biblical. And the problem is that because we have been removed from the structure that the Most High set up from the head, because he said the whole head is sick. Okay, let's start at the head. Because the head was attacked with our men. The women were then attacked, brought into women's liberation movement. And because of that, our backs have been getting ridden on by every minority group since then. And our homes are still in chaos. We're in gender wars and fighting one another because there is no intact structure and traditional families within our community anymore to a mass degree. So this is not the solution here to talk about Black feminist literary thought, in my personal opinion. So there are some points that I agree that should not have been included. But to say that we're going to completely rewrite history and to say that what took place was that we acquired skills that we would be able to use, that right there, that is just straight ignorance. We didn't acquire skills. Our ancestors didn't acquire skills. Our ancestors came with those skills. Our ancestors built the nation and nobody taught them how to do it. Nobody taught them how to do it. The Most High is the one who gave us the strength and the creativity and the ingenuity to build nations. American history, if it was told accurately, would say that the majority of the things that we rely on today have been built at the hands of Black people. And they know it. So when you're talking this nonsense, like DeSantis and this Floridian government is talking, you're erasing everything that we did, everything that our ancestors built. This is an utter shame. Oh, I'm not done yet. I got something else for y'all. Y'all not going to want to miss this one right here. Y'all not going to want to miss this one right here. Let me pull that up. Y'all going to give this a thumbs up. If you have not already done so, please give this a thumbs up because we need to get the conversation going. Okay. Let me share a screen real quick. Now, y'all pay close attention, all right? Pay real close attention to this one.
You might have seen videos like this before, but here's the big...
At today's Florida, tensions were high at today's Florida Department of Education meeting in Orlando. Marginalized groups and their supporters spoke out about feeling slighted by new school rules. Those changes and how African-American history is taught in Florida schools were at the top of today's agenda. News 6's Treasure Roberts is tracking the changes to your child's curriculum live from the newsroom tonight for us, Treasure.
Lisa, various groups believe the new academic standards for African-American history will omit or rewrite key historical facts about the Black experience. Despite heavy criticism, the Florida Department of Education approved new standards for social studies covering African-American history. So what your children learn in class this upcoming school year will change. The new standards impact lessons for kindergarten students through high school. The kindergarten lesson will recognize African-American inventors and explorers. One of the many high school lessons examines the range and variety of specialized roles performed by...
Do y'all see that? Do y'all see that? Come on, chat. Look at that screen real good. Do you see it? I'm not playing anymore until everybody sees what's on the screen right now. Y'all see that, huh? Mm-hmm. What that doing there? What is that doing there? I'm telling you, when I saw that, y'all can ask Brother Lorvins, I text him right away. Yes, wow. Y'all join the conversation. Go on and click so y'all can join the conversation. Yeah, it's right there. And that might be the case, but it's right here on the news. It's right here on the news. As they're talking about Florida education and Black history and talking about the accomplishments. As they're in the middle of talking about this story of the accomplishments of us, this is the book that they're showing. Come on now. Come on. It ain't by happenstance. I'm sorry. That's not by happenstance. That ain't by happenstance. They did that on purpose. Look at the books that they put on here. It is on purpose, y'all. We got to see what this is for what it is. This was displayed on purpose, specifically on purpose. Right there in the front, sending a message to all of us. Are you getting it?
Enslaved people. In the Department of Education meeting Wednesday, Florida teachers objected to the new rules, asking the board to put the proposal on hold.
Our students deserve to be equipped with a comprehensive understanding of our nation's past, even if the history is unpleasant.
These new standards present only half the story and half the truth. When we name political figures who work to end slavery, but leave anyone who worked to keep slavery legal nameless, kids are forced to fill in the blanks for themselves.
Florida Education Commissioner Manny Diaz pushed back against teachers and groups like the NAACP who claim the new standards censor history.
What we should be striving to do is provide our students with all of this information and let them formulate their own opinions. That is what true learning is.
Shelby Salem, a sophomore at Florida Atlantic University, attended the meeting.
So I think it is important to be active in the community around education.
She's studying to be a teacher.
Whenever I tell people that I am dedicating my life to be a teacher in Florida, they always say, I'm so sorry.
The new standards go into effect at the start of the school year in August. In the newsroom, Treasure Roberts getting results, News 6.
All right, family. I'm telling y'all, this is serious. This is serious times that we're living in, family. Okay, I'm going to let my brother in real quick, and then I got a special guest coming in. Brother Fast Nickel, peace and blessings. Do me a favor. Give me your thoughts. What's going on, man? What do you think about all of this?
I was not going to come on. I was just going to listen. But when they threw Hebrews to Negroes in your face, they are basically telling you, we know, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Facts upon facts. They know, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Man, I mean, that hit me like a bullet. Like, what is that doing up there? You remember, because just 6-7 months ago, they were talking to us and telling us, this is the documentary, the anti-Semitic documentary that we can't talk about, right? They wouldn't even say the name. Now they just got it right up there for everybody to see, right?
Not only that, when Ron Dalton was on the show 2 days ago, he was saying that he's banned everywhere.
Yes! Isn't it? Bro.
They banned him on Twitter. I mean, everywhere. I mean, they are really trying to make sure he does not support himself and his family.
The mockery. I'm telling you, it is wild. It is wild. My husband over here trying to listen, talking about check the chicken. Y'all, listen, this live is so impromptu. I'm not even kidding y'all. When I saw this and I saw that, I said, I got to go on right now, because this is family. We don't even understand how close. We don't even understand how close we are. When they're putting information like this in our faces to this magnitude and this degree, all while trying to deny our own history. Oh my goodness.
And what's funny is, where, as the gentleman from the video was showing, they're trying to make it sound like slavery wasn't bad, but then when they show the cover of Ron Dalton's book, it's the total opposite.
You see it. You see it. It's like,
oh my God.
The mockery knows no end. It knows no end. You talking about Black history, and now you talking about rewriting Black history, and what you put on your news clip is well planned out books to show the public, and what you see first in your face is Hebrews to Negroes. Come on now, family. I got a special guest coming in. Come on, check this out. My brother Lorvins in the building. What's going on, bro? What's going on?
Shalom, sis. How you doing?
I'm lit up right now. I'm so lit up. I'm fired up. Matter of fact, did you see? You saw the news clipping because I had texted you about it. We're gonna here again real quick.
Yeah, you sent it to me. Okay. And I sent it to Ron.
Man, hold on. Let me make sure. Let me see if I can get this thing up real quick, because I'm telling you, this thing is wild. So, what are your thoughts about what you saw? Because I know, like, you text me like, this is crazy. What you think? What you think about all this?
I mean, honestly, like, when I saw it, I'm like, wait a minute, isn't this the book like they scared of, and they want to ban? But then I had two kind of thought process, because I always try to do things from a benefit of the doubt. I'm like, either whoever put this story together know about the book and they was trying to sneak it in there, or either they just do, like you said, they're doing this on purpose. Almost like from a mocking standpoint, like, yeah, here's Hebrews to Negroes. We know who y'all are. What y'all gonna do about it? You see what I'm saying? And so really it kind of is bittersweet in the sense where it infuriates me to think that maybe that's what they're doing. But then knowing and being part of this from the very beginning, I can't help but give the Most High the praise, because sometimes he works in mysterious ways too. And it's like the way he just keep doing what he does, it crazy. Like, I'm almost speechless, because it's like, wow, like, Most High, you showing out for real. Like, you really showing out. And if you look at the way they displayed it, first of all, it's the biggest book on there, and it's right in the center. So a lot of times when you see position matters, especially when it comes to filming, position where they play something matters is literally in the center. So they letting you know this is in the center, and you gotta kind of like read into some of this stuff, man. It's crazy. But all I gotta do is praise the Most High for this one, man. He's woo.
I'm telling you, he doing it big. He doing it big for real.
Bigger than we can ever do it. I'm telling you.
I think it would be a good idea. Go ahead, Brother Fastnickel.
Let me ask you both a question. Do you think that the school would have been better off not teaching Black history at all and not even talking about it as opposed to what they did? What I mean by that is, if they would have just taken it out of the curriculum and not even mentioned it, it would have just kind of gone away, and no one would have noticed. But what they did, they actually brought attention to it.
Right. Well, I think it's kind of twofold in the sense, like, one, I don't mind him teaching Black history because history did happen. It's just how you teach it. But when you teach history, you also want to teach it in its completeness, because they teach history where they stop, they start at 1619, but nothing before that. But if we can get the full picture as to what led to Martin Luther King, or as to what led to Marcus Garvey, as to what led to Malcolm X, and all these pioneers that went before us, then we can have the full picture. But it's what we don't have the full picture. And so when you have books like Hebrews to Negroes, Babylon from Timbuktu, so all these different resources that we have now it's starting to make sense. But they don't want to teach anything prior to 1619. But if it's in its complete fullness, then I don't mind them teaching it. But how they teach it matters.
Absolutely. How they teach it does matter. And as a matter of fact, what I want to do at this time, right? Because I think it's only fair that the person who wrote the book, the person who produced the movie, give his opinion on why his book is on there without his permission or knowledge. So we're going to welcome in Brother Ron Dalton in the building. Brother Ron, how you doing? Good to have you on my channel for the first time. Peace and blessings to you.
Is he there? He's
Yeah.
muted.
Okay, he's muted. I think you muted, my brother.
He's probably getting set.
Okay, and while he's getting himself set up, because he had clicked out for just a minute, while getting himself set up, I agree. I think education should be taught, but it should be taught the right way. It should not be taught from a skewed vantage point, but we are fully aware. This is, somebody put it in the chat earlier, Psalm 83. This is always Psalm 83, trying to continuously keep us at a loss of remembrance of who we are, but at the same time putting in our faces who we are. Come on, somebody. This is why when a book like Hebrews to Negroes, we know that word is a breadcrumb. We know that's a word, that word is a breadcrumb that leads us to our true identity. So for them to do this, it's because they know it's a confederate against us. He got off, he'll probably get connected right back on. But yeah, I'm telling y'all.
He said he's having mic issues.
Oh, okay. Hopefully he can get back on. All right. So in any case, y'all, this is wild. I'm gonna wait once he comes back on, then we can move on past a little bit more. But you're out in Florida right now, Brother Lorvins, right? You're out there in that Florida area.
I am.
What are your personal thoughts about how Florida deals with not just in education, but how it deals with their Black community altogether? What, you're in northern Florida, part of like Tampa, right?
Well, I have experience in pretty much Central Florida and Southern Florida.
Okay.
So I'm from Fort Lauderdale area, Miami, that tri-county area. But I live in but I went to school in Daytona Beach, and I live in Tampa now, the Tampa Bay region. So I mean, I've not had like a personal issue or a story in regards to like any encounters of people saying, well, we shouldn't teach this or we should teach that. I mean, I just have experience in what they teach in the schools, because obviously I went to school here. And it's no different than the experiences that everybody else have as far as the limit they put on what you learn in terms of anything before 1619. I mean, after 1619. So I'll be honest, I don't have anything like, negative in the sense where that's the experience, but I have to come into the truth. Now I know, like, wait a minute, they haven't really taught us anything. You see what I'm saying? And now you starting to learn that everything is just a regurgitation of the same thing. Like Ron always say, they always show you a slave movie every year, but they show you these movies to keep you at bay, because there's always a movie or something where they're teaching you how the slaves got whipped or they got out of line and things of that nature. No different than what they do in Christianity. slave, obey your masters. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same type of teaching, same type of indoctrination over and over and over again. But now that we are in a way, now we understand that it's much deeper than that. You see what I'm saying? It goes much further. And so, but other than that, Florida is unique in the sense that, sometimes you just don't know who you're encountering until they open their mouth or they experience and things of that nature. Then you sort of kind of get an idea. But other than that, a lot of it sometimes is not as blatant until it actually happens.
Well, I lived in Florida for 20 years. I was not a part of the public school system. I did go to community college there in Broward because I used to live in Broward for many years, between Broward and West Palm area. And I could tell you from personal experience that, South Florida in particular is one of the most racist places that I've ever been in. They, just the blatant racism in the school system. I can't say that I experienced that either. In the community college setting, I didn't. But just in terms of dealing with people in the public, I experienced it all the time. And that was whether I was in Broward County, that was whether I was in West Palm, or even if I popped my head in Miami, it was the same thing. We got Brother Ron in, so before we lose him, I'm gonna go ahead and add him again real quick. Brother Ron, how you doing? Okay, your mic is muted again. Can you hear me? Oh, no, I see your mouth moving, but I can't hear you. That's crazy. That's crazy. The mic is giving you issues. Okay. It says that his mic wasn't connected. So when he comes back in, just tell him his mic isn't connected. So we can see him visually, but okay. So in the meantime, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show y'all something that I learned when I was in South Florida. Because he going to get on. He going to get on. But while I was in South Florida, this is one of the stories that we heard about Florida, and particularly in the Palm Beach area. Okay. So Palm Beach, if you know anything about Palm Beach, you'll know it's one of the wealthiest, most privatized mini cities within the entire state. Okay. And I live not too far from Palm Beach, but there's an old tale about Palm Beach and what happened to it before it became so wealthy. It was called the Sticks of Palm Beach. So it says at the turn of the 20th century, there was an employment boom of unprecedented proportions in South Florida. The hiring of thousands of Black laborers to extend Henry Flagler's Florida East Coast Railroad. Historian and author Everett Jimerson Clark says these laborers played a key role in the development of early Palm Beach and also helped to build the Royal Poncia Hotel and Flagler's Whitehall residence, which is today known as the Henry Flagler Museum. Okay, so that's kind of the history with Flagler, but we're going to jump down here so you can find out what took place. It says, from everything I've read, there was no running water, no electricity, said historian and attorney Richard Rouse. These were shacks that were put up by the artisans that worked on the island, and they were very close quarters. So this is what it looked like, okay, in the 1900s. This was the Sticks. The details of what happened next remain a source of debate to this day. Many believe, however, that Henry Flagler may have played a role. Former West Palm Beach Commissioner Robbie Littles heard the story this way. Along came a fellow named Henry Flagler who decided he needed that land to build on to develop, Littles said. He threw a party for all the Blacks on the island, and they all went over to the party. And while they were celebrating and enjoying themselves, their homes on the island, on the town of Palm Beach burned down mysteriously. Derek McCrae's family version of the tale of much the same. From what I heard, McCrae said he got with the residents to set up a party on the West Palm Beach side and had everybody ferried over to this party. And then they had a mob of people to burn up people's homes and shanties and tents over to the Sticks and force them out of there. And they took the land. Now, is DeSantis going to tell this story? Is he going to tell this story right here? Because when I was there, I'm telling you, living right down the street from the Palm Beach area, you would never know that Palm Beach was what it is today. You would never know it was like that before. Brother Ron, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Hallelujah. Got you in, my bro. Well, welcome to Ashanda at Large. Yeah, we talk about you today. Talk about you a little bit. Did you get a chance to see the video yet of your feat?
Yeah, Lorvins, he sent it to me and I watched it.
Okay, we're gonna put that up there, right there in the screen. What do you think about all of this? You know, with the last year of you being so heavily criticized in the international court, if you will, of opinion, only to see that now at the moment where Black history is being redefined in Florida, that your book is front and center in the news again.
Well, I mean, I think this is I don't know who took that picture or video. I think it was a video, but obviously whoever did the video, I don't know if that's a table of a library or a table of a classroom, or they actually put those books together for the video that they aired. But it just shows you that people are paying attention to books, in particular Hebrews to Negroes, which is a book about our history. I don't know about the other books that I see there, A Way Out of Norway and some other books, but I mean, I do know, and everybody knows that our history is in Hebrews to Negroes books. So it is a part of our education. History is a part of education. Um, and it's more than just slavery history. It's a history of who were the slaves that were put on the slave ships, and how far back can we trace their heritage and their ethnicity and their origin, and that's important for people that did not have our history told to us correctly, because we were taught history by the white man and the Christian missionaries. So I think this is all happening for a reason, and the Stay Woke tour that just ended, I think last month. Um, I don't know what they spoke about. I don't know what they actually did in terms of rallies or meetings or conferences or engaging with the community. But you know, some of these things need to come out, that the kids, the high school kids, the middle school kids, elementary kids, um, college kids. At some point, we're gonna have to start putting into our curriculum the history of the so-called Negro. And I know people might not agree that we are the Israelites, or we were brought from Africa to America on slave ships. Some people have an alternative belief, and we were already here, we were indigenous, and all this other stuff. But those kind of books are not on the table. At least I don't see on that video. The video that I saw today has Hebrews to Negroes front and center. So if people are paying attention, I don't know. I don't know how many people actually saw this video or this news reel in the state of Florida. I'm assuming it. Well, it's on YouTube, so I guess you can see it, and anybody can see it. But yeah, I mean, this might be something that we need to pursue, and continue the push to get our history not blotted out by the governor of Florida and the people that's pushing to change the narrative on what our kids learn.
Amen. I agree. But I have to tell you that I don't think that this was happenstance. I believe it was very, very intentional to have your book there. And I don't believe that it was somebody who was in our corner. I look at it as though it's a mockery, because of the fact that when we're talking about the restructuring of education in the Florida area that has already been a bigoted place, and we're going to now talk about restructuring education to say that the slaves developed skills that they would later be able to use, and that's going to be their brand of history. But then to have your book on that media coverage, to me, it just seems as though they're saying, hey, listen, we know who you really are, but we're putting out there an entirely different message, because we know most people are not going to take time to educate themselves on who they really are. They're just going to rely upon whatever information that we feed them. So that's my concern about what this whole situation is with putting Hebrews to Negroes on there. Lost Brother Ron, but Brother Lorvins, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, he said his phone keep losing mic access. Story of Ron's life, that's for sure. Well, yeah, I mean, he's correct in the sense that, you know, the idea of teaching the right curriculum in the schools, and, you know, I don't know if it's by happenstance or if this thing was intentional, but I know one thing he noticed, it was front and center, which is the same thing I said. So something is going on. Either it's divine, it's always divine, you know, things that are going on in this world. The Most High always have a hand in it. But this just makes me feel even more determined, because it's like these things just don't happen like this. You see what I'm saying? Like, it really just don't. And the thing about it is the amount of work that's been put in into these projects, and just really going in and try to promote and get assistance from even our fellow people, and then to be rejected so many times, and then to see how the Most High is doing what he's doing, you know, he's basically trying to have us have more faith in him. And so, and this is what we've been doing. And to see what the Most High is doing, man, it's short of amazing. It's a miracle. It's all divine. He's orchestrated this from the beginning. And out of all of this, though, and this is taking me and Ron out of the picture, taking Hebrews to Negroes out of the picture, I would pray that the Israelites that are watching and those that have not identified with the faith, whether you be Christians or whatever, this is the time now to really start believing. You know, you have to kind of think about what Kyrie Irving did and how the Most High allowed him to stir the pot. If you're not a believer right now, you know, yeah, you're not seeing the Red Sea part in the way that it did back then, but this is a miracle. These are miracles that the Most High is doing today. And if you don't believe it, man, I don't know what's going to make you believe, to be honest with you. You see what I'm saying? Absolutely. And so I look at it from that standpoint now, as to look at our brothers and sisters and say, man, y'all need to start stepping up, man. Like, for real, this stuff is real. This stuff is real life stuff. You know, the dangers that we face, especially Ron, you know what I'm saying? You know, and that's really my 2 cents of what I got to say about it. But like you said, it could be intentional and making a mockery, or it could be that the Most High say, hey, look, I got this chess game and y'all just going to do what I say do.
Yeah, absolutely. Fast Nickel, I want to get your thoughts on this whole situation pertaining to Yah using this moment for his glory in spite of what maybe their intention was set out to do.
Well, first of all, I usually don't show video, but since we had Ron on, I figured let me go ahead and show myself too, so to join the crowd. But
I got a bad hair day, so I'm keeping the screen off. I'm sorry.
Well, you know, it's amazing. You know, well, one thing, a lot of people don't know this, but Pope Nicholas in 1452, he came out with the doctrine of discovery, which is what gave the European countries the mandate to go into Africa and take the people as slaves. And a lot of people don't know this.
Yep, that's so true. That's so true. And that's the whole thing. A matter of fact, I remember I did a live one. It was called The Two Nicholases. It was around Christmas time. It talked about how both of these Catholic influences, whether it was Santa Claus, Nicholas Catholic influence, or whether it was Pope Nicholas, had to do with keeping our people particularly subjugated, and him passing that mandate for us to be carted off into all parts of the world. But yet we're over here celebrating Christ Mass. Come on now. Now, did y'all read, since we're on this real quick, have y'all read the letter that what's his name? The King of Belgium, the one that Leopold III, that was found to the Christian missionaries? Have y'all seen that?
I'm not.
All right, I'm going to pull it up for y'all because this stuff is serious. See, all of this stuff plays a key factor. All of this plays a key factor in what we're seeing currently today. So I'm going to read to y'all, for those of you who have not seen this letter, I'm going to read to y'all. This letter was found, okay? This was a letter that King Leopold II, actually, of Belgium, wrote to the colonial missionaries of 1883. So take a listen. Reverends, fathers, and dear compatriots, the task that is given to fulfill is very delicate and requires much tact. You will go certainly to evangelize, but your evangelization must inspire above all Belgium interest. Your principal objective in our mission in the Congo is never to teach the niggers, I'm going to have to say ninjas, y'all, to know God. This they know already. They speak and submit to Mungu, one Nzambi, one Zankamba, and what else I don't know. They know that to kill, to sleep with someone else's wife, to lie, and to insult is bad. Have courage to admit it. You're not going to teach them what they know already. Your essential, okay? The laws, right? Your essential role is to facilitate the task of administrators and industrials, which means you will go to interpret the gospel in the way it will be the best to protect your interests in that part of the world. For these things, you have to keep watch on disinteresting our savages from the richness that is plenty in their underground. To avoid that, they get interested in it and make you murderous competition and dream one day to overthrow you. Your knowledge of the gospel will allow you to find text ordering and encourage your followers to love poverty. Like, happier are the poor because they will inherit the heaven. And it's very difficult for the rich to enter the kingdom of God. You have to detach from them and make them disrespect everything, which gives courage to affront us. I make reference to their mystic system and their war fetish, war protection, which they pretend not to want to abandon. And you must do everything in your power to make it disappear. Your action will be directed essentially to the younger ones. You see? Education now. But they won't revolt when the recommendation of the priest is contradictory to their parents' teachings. The children have to learn to obey what the missionary recommends, who is the father of their soul. You must singularly insist on their total submission and obedience. Avoid developing the spirit in the schools. Teach students to read and not to reason. There, dear patriots, are some of the principles that you must apply. You will find many other books which will be given to you at the end of this conference. Evangelize the ninjas so that they stay forever in submission to the white colonialist, so they never revolt against the restraints they are undergoing. Recite every day. Happy are those who are weeping, because the kingdom of God is for them. It goes on more. It goes on more, but that's the basis of it. Telling them to teach them to love poverty and to hate the wealth that the Most High has blessed them with in the land. They talk about don't invite them to your dinners, but always require tax from them. Use the whip on them. Continuously teach them a Christianized version of the Bible so that you can take everything from them. What do y'all think about that?
Wow. I mean, it's like Solomon says, nothing new under the sun. That's what they teach in Christianity. You see what I'm saying? And the pastor getting richer and richer, but then everyone is just giving their money, staying in that state of misery and being poor. And it's like the whole time they're just regurgitating what Leopold has written. So, it's nothing new under the sun. And it seems like we enjoy being in that little poor state of mind, not just poor in physical, but poor even in spirit, because we don't like to read. And even when we do read, we don't reason. Notice what he said, teach them how to read, but then not how to reason, meaning that we don't understand what we're reading. Exactly. So it's just amazing, like, just to see that. Nothing new under the sun. They're doing the same thing right now, which is Ron DeSantis, what he's pushing.
Exactly. And that's what the letter went on to say, is basically the person who found it went on to say that this idea of Leopold's vision, like we talk about the Willie Lynch syndrome all the time, but Leopold's vision for what we are supposed to aspire to as a spiritual people is literally still going on today. And so we are people who stays on the bottom because our youth are constantly being hijacked in the mind. And that's exactly what DeSantis is doing, is to continue this pattern of hijacking our youth into thinking that they are nothing more than slaves. What say you, Fast Nickel?
This is, to me, this is just more proof that the church, they know who we are because they don't target any other groups. They only come after the slaves and the people of African descent. And so you know, they may not tell you, but you know that there's an agenda that they want to keep covered.
100%. 100%. Y'all see that right there? Florida ranks 49th for worst income inequality in the U.S., right underneath New York. So this is the same state that they're going to talk about how our ancestors developed skills that will help them later on. Not invented. Pretty much the majority of the things that we use today, still to this day, at the hands of our ancestors who invented it. So yeah, it's the same thing. Family, this is an impromptu live. I appreciate y'all coming on and giving y'all perspective. I want to get y'all closing thoughts on what y'all are seeing happening in Florida and how the Most High is going to use it ultimately for his glory. So I'll start with you, Fast Nickel, and then Brother Lorvins, I'll let you close.
Well, one thing I wanted to say, I don't remember the chapter and verse, but what you just read goes back to, I think, in the Old Testament, where the person knew that he couldn't take the blessings away from the children of God. So he had to make them do things for God to take away those blessings. And
Balaam
that's what it is doing.
Yep, Balaam and Balak. That's right. That's right.
That's right. That's exactly what you read is doing. And going back to our discussion last night, I like her, love her, Jill Scott and other performers, they, regardless of their past, their present, their future, people like that are where the people that don't know any better are going to listen to. So if that's what it takes to get an awakening, to get people to wake up, to realize what's really going on, so be it.
Amen. You're right. Wake up, Black America, right?
Yeah, I mean, I look at everything from a practical lens. I see it spiritually first. And the thing about it, the way the Most High has always dealt with me is I read the word, I see it. And when I see it, if it has an instruction, then you have to go ahead and do it. Sometimes we falter on that, but we just have to pick ourselves back up again and do it. So I say that to say that I usually walk out what it is the instruction is. And when I walk out, a lot of times I don't see it beforehand. And then when I do what it is that I was instructed to do through obedience, then the Most High shows me little at a time, because he cannot reveal himself fully to you at one time, because if he does, you will die. You just can't. So he gives you a little bit at a time. So as I obey more and more, he keeps showing and he keeps showing, he keeps showing. And me and Ron had no idea. When we planned the conference in Florida, we were sort of kind of blind to the idea of what was going on in Florida, because I really wasn't paying attention as much with the Ron DeSantis thing. So we planned the conference in Florida. So now, and it's crazy because Ron had texted me the other day. He said, man, something is happening, right? And I was like, well, whatever it is, I'm sure the Most High will reveal it, because he always does to us, right? And so now it's starting to make sense that we're in ground zero. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, indeed.
You see what I'm saying? So we're in ground zero of this, whatever woke movement or critical race theory or whatever have you. And now in Florida, and you're showing the book on the whatever the news thing. So I'm telling you, like both sides, he makes me laugh all the time, because I'm like, are you serious? Father, are you serious? You're really doing this thing. You know what I'm saying? And then so now the picture is starting to be painted.
Yes.
And so we're starting to understand. So and now Ron is like, man, what should we do? What should we do? I said, I don't know, but it seems like a revolution is about to go down. But I say the word revolution because then it's like we did the song called Revolution, ironically featuring Ron on there too. So it's just, it's stuff is starting to line up. But, stay tuned as we're more obedient to what the Most High has in store for us to do. I think we're going to start seeing this picture unravel even more and more. And with this conference, I pray that all of you who are watching today, please join us in this fight. I mean, this is just not just, all of us Hebrews need to be picking up this plow. All of us need to be doing something. I don't care what it is. The Most High has endowed you with something, whether it be a small gift. I don't care if it's sweeping a congregation or whatever it is. He's endowed you with something. So he chose as a priestly nation. So with all the priests, they had an assignment. All the priests, they had an assignment. So if you're a priestly nation, that means you have an assignment. If you find yourself looking at another Hebrew and what they're doing, and you are taking yourself away from your assignment, then you got to know you're doing something wrong. So let us all just pick up the broom. Let us all pick up something and start contributing to this nation, to this kingdom that the Most High is trying to abide with us. You see what I'm saying? So we need to start committing ourselves seriously, not just talking about you holy, you set apart, and you this. I'm talking about through your deeds. Amen. You show your through your works. You see what I'm saying? And by my faith, you see what I'm saying? This is what we do. Don't come to me talking about you had a dream and you did, and thus said the Most High. No, show me when he tell you something, show me what you about to do with it. Then I'll believe you. It's through our faith that we show what we believe. So at the end of the day, man, let's build this kingdom. And thank you for allowing me to come on this divine moment. And it seems like it's happening every day. Divine moment.
Absolutely, brother. We can't let you go just talking a little something about the conference. Listen, tell them about the conference, because a lot of people, they're like, what are you talking about? Some conference going on? Give them the details.
Well, the conference is being put by Ron and I. So Ron, he'll be here in the United States. The conference is going on November 17 and 18. We're trying to add another day where we do family fun day, maybe go skating and just having a good time, a full day of concert on the Sunday. But the first 2 days is going to be information about end times and preparing and new information in regards to who's who in terms of the nations in the Bible. And then we're premiering a brand new movie. Okay, you think they've seen something, wait till they see Sound the Alarm. You see what I'm saying? This is a brand new movie that also is going to be premiere. So please be the first in the building to see that. You can go to Ron's, I don't memorize the website, but I think it's Hebrews H2N TV, but Hebrews to Negroes TV.com, something like that. But if you Google it, it should come up. All right. But yeah, that's it. I mean, we're going to have a good time here in Florida. It's going to be November, so obviously it's going to be cold other places. This place should be still warm. And if you can make it, and the Most High put it in your heart to do so, please come. We won't be able to do certain things live with it because we're trying to use wisdom, security, things of that nature. So that's why it's in person.
Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and put the link for the website here. It is h2ntv.com, and y'all can check it out. And there you can also get access to the tickets, and I'll try to put that in the comment as well when we get ready to close out. I want to thank y'all so much for coming on and sharing. For the Lorvins, you spoke about revolution, so we're going to close with revolution because it is for a revolution for sure. All praises to the Most High for what he's doing in this hour through his people. And I'm telling you, this moment, family, this is a revelatory moment. We don't need to be disheartened. We don't need to feel like we're on the losing side of this battle, because we are not. We belong to the Most High. He is Yahuwah Sabaoth. He is the one that fights our battles for us. So we need to just stay vigilant. We need to trust in him. And we need to know that in this moment, in this very hour, what the devil has meant for bad, the Most High will use for good for those of us. Why? Because we love him and we're called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28 is my favorite scripture. And I look at Romans this, you know what I'm saying? Moments like this, say, yes, he's doing it. He's doing what he do. So I want to thank y'all again so much for coming out. I'm going to go ahead and close with your song, and then we're going to get out here. All right?
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
We ain't playing games no more. We take them back. Let's fight for the odds. Bruce and Negroes, wake up Black America. Judah,
don't go in the tower. Anything can happen. I know that the storm is raging now. Tomorrow will be calm. But it's gonna take a revolution. A revolution. It's gonna take a revolution. A revolution.
Wise as serpents, the strategies to learn the beast. Homeless as doves, there's a time when to keep the peace. God's battle axe, even y'all keep the peace. 40 acres of mule, that reparations piece. What if we all embody being one body? Tulsa, Black Wall Street is filled with bodies. I am Malcolm X, we all Marcus Garvey. Hello, Haile Selassie, the whole lottie-dottie. I am a highest night, we in Yahuwah's army. Yahweh, it's Yahweh, whichever route we going. For a future, history just might be tarnished. After darkness, that just might be some Paris morning. Think upon it, we the pawns that they feast upon. If we the kings and queens, then swords gotta be drawn. Wake up, Hebrews, the unity is needs more. Fist up revolution. Yeah.
Anything can happen. I know that the storm is raging now. Tomorrow will be calm. But it's gonna take a revolution. A revolution. It's gonna take a revolution.
Revolution.
A revolution.
Spiritual revolution. Yeah. No more propaganda. Be silent no more. We ain't scared of your Mirandas. Call us by our name. It don't seem like you can handle it. Your system we dismantling. We done searched over the land and turned out y'all all scandalous. Overthrow it all in the spirit. To be cornered like an overthrown ball with no receiver. It's a revolution. Started in our mind and really televised. Now the world can see the truth. Out the box, they telling lies. No flag, warning shots, no blood. False flag, stars, banners waving. We like bye bye, Babylon. With our wooden planks, we gon' carry on. If the ball in our hands long, we gon' carry it on. My brother's modern day Christmas addicts. Going home party, ain't talking repub, Democratic. He done heard the people cry who also diplomatic. Yeah, anything can happen now. It's the fight of your life, and we ain't talking no backing down.
Anything can happen. I know that the storm is raging now. Tomorrow will be calm. But it's gonna take a revolution. A revolution. It's gonna take a revolution. A revolution. All we ever wanted was prostitution. Yeah. But then they devised ways to lock us up in prison. Yeah. Master taught us how to be a good Christian. Hey. But we're the black disciples of the revolution. So wake up, we are stronger with more than one. Second Exodus, our freedom has just begun. Oh, the kingdom is here, you better take it. Came a long way from them slave ships. We don't care about them blue honeys. We treasure hunting. Don't throw in the towel. Throw in the towel. It can happen. Anything can happen. I know that the storm is raging now. Tomorrow will be calm. We'll be calm. A revolution. A revolution. We need a revolution. Revolution. A revolution.
My bro got the cello in the background. My bro got the cello. That sounds like a cello right there. I love it. know I'm crazy. Y'all know I'm crazy.
Yes, you crazy.
That was fire, man. We love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. That song was, man, I'm gonna be, are we gonna be hanging up? I'm gonna be around the house like revolution.
Revolution. Yeah, come on, man. Hey, look, it's a revolution. It's a revolution.
Hallelujah. Well, my bro, thank you once again for coming on. Family, we just got to stand strong in this day and this time. We got to be vigilant and trust in the Most High Yahuwah. He has us in his hands. You know what I'm saying? He knows what he's doing with his people. He loves us. And family, as always, I love you too. Love yourselves without hating your enemies. And until next time, family, y'all bless. Oops, wrong one, y'all. My bad.